And then looking at Bosnia in this group, it looks like they're more likely than not to advance. What do you make of their possibility of making a deep run? I mean, what have you been seeing from them in the group stages that makes you think that they have a good hope moving forward, Aaron?
I hope they don't make a good run if they're coming over against
Yeah, look at the stars on his shirt. Look at the stripes on mine.
I mean, tell me, what do you think?
Yeah, that one's going to be a really interesting matchup. Even Asmir Begovic came out and said the Bosnians would probably play fairly conservatively in that match. And that's what I would expect from Bosnia, is to sit in a low block, to try to hit out on the counter, to play from the wings. They have strikers that can finish. They are physical. They can capitalize from set pieces. That's how I would expect Bosnia to try to work that match, to try to draw the U.S. in on a high press and spring a break in that way. But it would be a tough match no matter who it is. If it's Senegal, if it's Bosnia and Herzegovina, it's either one of those matchups are a really, really tough one for the U.S. and it's going to be, I think it's going to be a fantastic match no matter who it is, even if it is that less than 1% that it's Senegal.
Tactically, it's a really interesting matchup because the way that you would hurt this Bosnian team is by pressing them. By the way, their fans have just been absolutely incredible. Yes. The support that they have had, and seeing the traveling fans, they waited for this for such a long time. They beat all odds just to get here as well, whether it's been in Canada, wherever their games have been. Their support is amazing, and we know that makes a difference. But tactically, when you talk about this match, you have to press them. If you press Bosnia and you do it well and you're effective, that's how you could hurt them. But they're also very okay with doing that. Yeah. They are comfortable sitting in their position, in their spots, and then hitting out. In the match against Qatar, they went a little bit more offensive. They had Bayraktarovic, Aljabegovic, which they didn't do in the first two matches because they understood who their opponent is. And if USA make the mistake of making it a dogfight and they can't press them effectively, they're in for a long night because mentally, they're so tough, Bosnia. They want to make it a tie game. Yeah. They've already shown that they could go far on penalty kicks as well. That's how they got this far. So you can't overlook Bosnia. Yeah. Trust me.
I think Bosnia would have to employ the strategy that they employed against Qatar rather than the defensive one. I think the U.S. has shown against two pretty rock-solid teams in Paraguay and Australia that they can press. Their counter press is incredibly effective. They got an early goal in both of those games. They have quality. They have ideas. They do well in the final third. I think if Bosnia sit in, you're just there for the taking. I think this guy, Aljabegovic and Bayraktarovic on the other side, who you mentioned, Marco, are the players that need to make the difference in the game. In the first two games, when they were approaching it more conservatively, they would only play one or the other. For me, if I were Bosnia, I would go out with my best punch. I would go out saying, I threw everything that I had at it. I threw my best attackers on the field, and I tried to go after the United States. Because the United States can be vulnerable defensively. I think playing defensively against the U.S. plays into their hands from what we've seen so far with this World Cup. I think you have to actually challenge them. You have to take the game to the United States. And no team has been able to do that so far. We won't really get a clear glimpse of that tonight against Turkey. From my perspective, I think Bosnia have to go out of this game throwing their best punch. I don't think what they did in the first two games would work against the U.S.
So here we go. We're going to take a look quickly at Bosnia. And the one good thing about Bosnia, or the thing that they have positive working towards them, is that they know what they are. I think that's a very important fact. You have to know what you are. You have to know where your tools are. And so they know they don't have a lot, right? But they've got some unbelievable results. Knocked out Wales, knocked out Italy to get to the tournament, then slapped Qatar around yesterday. 4-4-2, easiest way to play football. They're in the blue here. You can see they're in the blue. 4-4-2. And the reason why, try to disregard the Reds for now. The reason why this is the easiest is because you have to keep this space short. You have to keep this space short, right? We spoke about that yesterday. As this ball flings out here of the United States, starts with the keeper, maybe with the center backs have it here, right? This ball flings out. It's very simple. Anybody could do this, right? He shifts, puts pressure on the ball, the left midfielder. Here's your little bit of cover. Here's your little bit of cover, and then you almost always have this check mark in a 4-4-2. Same thing now if the ball goes out wide here, and they have to put some pressure. Here you go. That's the first the fullback of this back four. The fullback will go out, and you'll have this little shifting, and you'll have this little check mark coming inside here. Again, you'll have this check mark. You'll have guys coming down, protecting the back four. 4-4-2. Sometimes you might even see one of the strikers come in here and pick up on a midfielder, and it kind of looks like a 4-4-1-1. Okay, fine. That's the easiest way to play a football and to defend. So what do you want to do to this back four if you're the United States of America? Now let's just focus just on the back four right here. This back four, you want to spread them out. So you want to have width. Because if you have a player here and a player here, you're automatically, by default, you're going to create some space between the lines if they don't shift, right? Which means now you have overload runs, or you're going to create that shift hard like I showed you, and you're going to leave space on the weak side where they can attack and they can cross balls and everything else. So I think that's the important thing. So how the U.S. will play, right? We've had some jokes around it, people talking about they're playing like a pentagon formation. Bosnia now will play deep like this, right? 4-4-2, like we spoke about. And the U.S., to open them up, they will not play with a back two. They won't play with a back two. This new formation that we're seeing is a three center back system, right? So that it will look like this. These are the three center backs. Now, these fullbacks here, these are called wingbacks. These wingbacks will go high and wide. They'll actually become attackers. And at times, a lot of times, the teams that know how to play well, they'll become the highest players on the field. So there's your width right there. These guys will connect to the back line in defensive stage, and in the attacking stage, they'll be sometimes even the highest players on the field. Flo Balogun will be here, and then they will get runners from the midfield here as this shapes up, right? And now the unique thing about the U.S. and what they want to do is, as this ball, let's say, swings wide, right, and the numbers are like this, these three center backs will go and rest right on these blue shirts. Back in the day, you would see guys happy to be here, right? They might do something like this, right? That's what normally you see. The U.S. is going, no, we play rock and roll football. We stay here. Go ahead, come and try to beat us. And the reason why they can do this is because they're so quick and they're so athletically gifted. Now, just quickly, last thing. The two most dangerous players on Bosnia are Alabegovic and the other winger, Dzeko, obviously Demirovic up top. So just look at their front four right here. Again, this is their 4-4-2. These two guys will try to occupy center backs. Here's the danger man right here. And he is going to start in the wide areas for them. So they have to be in this five-man. The beauty of this 5 or 3 center back system is that when these guys are not attacking these two wing backs that are so essential to the formation, these guys will connect again to the back line. And the U.S. will have Tyler Adams, Weston McKennie, probably Tillman protecting this area, even if Tillman cheats a little bit, right? But this will look like a back 5 with 2 protectors in front of them at all times. These 5 here plus the 2 protectors. Now, let's say Des gets caught up. One of the midfielders will make that ground up, and they'll shift accordingly. So this is what it will look like, I think, 4-4-2 against a 3 center back system. And I think there'll be no surprise on the day. Alabegovic is a danger man. Rest defense is important. Counterattacks are important. And that suffocation that the U.S. did against Paraguay and the first half of Australia, I think we'll see that. I think you'll need to see that if they want to put Bosnia in a game that's too difficult for them.
Yeah, Grella, that was outstanding. And it's cool to be in studio to see that live because I've seen it online. Of, just seeing you come alive in that. What a difference it makes. I can't remember the game. I don't know if it was Ecuador or South Korea. Maybe it was South Korea. That mentality shift for the U.S. men's national team. And I love that you said rock and roll football, to be aggressive. Because coming into the World Cup, a lot of people, me included, my biggest concern was how do you protect Tim Ream? Because I thought he was going to be the player teams were going to say, okay, let's put Edin Dzeko on, let's put Demirovic on him and go after Tim Ream. But you haven't seen that this World Cup. It seems like the team is a well-oiled machine.
Yeah, when you play with 3 center backs, that's the best way to protect them. If you don't have 2 really, really good center backs, you put 3 center back system. It's easier to play out of, and it also helps you on the defensive side, like we just saw in the last thing, because the wing backs can reattach, and then you have a 5-man back line to clog up the wide areas, where Bosnia will be dangerous with Alabegovic.
And amazing as well that they've got Christian Pulisic back to full strength and available and ready to go. Just quickly, a pathway for them forward could look like this, because the bracket, the way it's kind of fallen, has fallen favourably, you would have to say, for the US men's national team. Potentially, if they get past Bosnia and Herzegovina, it's Egypt, South Korea, and then in the quarterfinals to reach Spain, Austria, Portugal, or Ghana. I mean, then you're looking at the tough matchups. But would you say, Grell, that's you'd take that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you would before the tournament, but again, Bosnia, they've been playing possum for so long now. Like, oh, we're not that good. Tied Austria. Oh, we're not that good. Knocked out Wales. Oh, we're not that good. Knocked out Italy. Then tied North Macedonia, tied Panama. So, they're a team that doesn't waver. Obviously, they're pretty good at stuff. And they have a pretty huge age range, with Alabegovic being 18 and Dzeko being 40. They got a little bit of it. They got a little bit of everything. I think in the quarterfinal, the U.S. to go deep to a semifinal, they're going to need Spain or maybe even Portugal to get upset on that side of the bracket.
So
then a semifinal is very attainable. But I think if they come up against Spain, it's going to be tough.